Well, good morning. And welcome, welcome, welcome to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the spirit and to serve the community. I am Reverend Lane-Mairead Campbell. I am your settled minister here at First Universalist, and I use they, them pronouns. Joining me today in leading our worship service are Greg Baum, our worship associate, using he, him pronouns. The fabulous Dr. Brock Chesvold, using he, him pronouns on piano and directing our choir this morning. We have Reverend Michelle Yates, using she, her pronouns, our Minister of Lifespan Faith Development, who will be sharing a fabulous story with us today. Jenny May is sad. And my gosh, do we have a dynamic team doing our tech support this morning with Jim Milch using he, him pronouns, Michael Scott helping us with sound using he, him pronouns, and Lisa Gwinner assisting using she, her pronouns. We also, of course, have Karen Labraco using she, her pronouns online, holding down our online ministry team. There are so many different people that make this service possible. And I am so grateful to all of you for leading this service with me this morning. If you are here for the first time, second time, third time, we especially welcome you. Thank you so much for making your way to First Universalist. We have a visitor's form that can be filled out if you scan the QR code in your order of service or in your pews, or if you click the link in the chat online to just let us offer you a welcome beyond just what we can offer you here on Sunday morning. We have a UU and U session on the third Sunday of every month. Question and answer time period, time to learn a little bit more about First Universalist happens in the back of the sanctuary. It will be next Sunday, January 15th. Please join us. Please join us. Please join us for that. I'm just trying to remember what I got to do next, man. If sometimes you just get into the mode. So before we turn to our neighbor and offer a greeting to one another, I want to invite us now to connect our communities, both online and in person. We are so grateful folks have the capacity to join us online. We are also so grateful that you all are here in the sanctuary both. So if folks would be willing to turn towards Michael and our green camera and to offer a wave to our folks online. We're so glad that you all are here with us this morning. We're so grateful that you could be joining us. Please, if you're online, pop into the chat and offer a greeting. And if you're, it's so good to see your faces, yay! And if you're joining us here in the sanctuary, would you please turn to your neighbor and offer your neighbor a greeting? Let's join in greeting one another this morning and welcoming folks. Well, all right, let's sing. Let us sing. Let us sing. Please, please, please let us come on back and rise in body or in spirit. We will be singing hymn number 1046, Shall We Gather at the River? Beautiful graphics, that's gorgeous. So let us join in singing this hymn. It's also in your teal hymnals if you'd like to see the music. Beautiful. Please be seated.
Good morning. Come, let us gather at the river of our shared experiences flowing into one, the river that carries our hopes and dreams, the river of life that flows from beginning to end. Come, let us gather to quiet our minds and hearts, to connect with the sacred, to explore what lies beneath the surface, to travel underground one last time. Come, let us worship together this morning. As Tom Williams lights our chalice at First Universalist Church, and you light your chalice in your own homes, will you join me in saying the chalice words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community. Please rise in body and or spirit and join me in our affirmation of faith, followed by our doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. From all that dwell below the skies, let peace and love rise. Let me sun with on earth be sung, with every land by every tongue. This church would not exist without you, without your presence, without your time and effort, without your financial support, without your commitments to justice. This church would not exist without you and generations of people who came before you. Whether you are here for the first time or the 500th time, your presence here matters to us. And your gifts matter to us as well. For they are what keep this church nurturing the spirit and serving the community. You are invited online by scanning the QR code in your pew, or to drop an offering in the offering basket. For folks online, please click the link in the chat to give the First Universalist Church. Thank you for your generosity.
Good morning, friends. Our story today is Jenny May is Sad by Tracy Subizak. I'll give them a second to catch up. I was just talking this morning with Kitty on how children's book illustrations, sometimes there's so much captured in the pictures that isn't even there in the words. And there's a part where I'll be talking during the story just to invite you to look closer at the pictures because some of the big action happens and they don't even talk about it. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to try and stand here so I can show our folks online as well, and I'll still invite you to look closely. All right, Jenny May is Sad by Tracy Subizak. And the author talks about how this was her at one point in her life. So here we see the friend who's authoring the story picking up Jenny from her house and looking back at the house as Jenny comes out with her head down. Oh, I can share it here. Ooh, all right. We got this. I just got to figure out my dimensions. Okay. My friend, Jenny May, is sad. But you might not be able to tell. Even when she is sad, she still smiles. Hey, pal. And shares her orange with Harold and admires Izzy's drawings. And she really likes to make everyone laugh. Jenny May is hilarious. But some days are not as fun. I invite you to look. The boy in the green shirt seems to be beaming with whatever he is drawing, and he shows it to Jenny May with pride. Jenny May grabs it and rip. Hey, why did you do that, Jenny May? Comforts a friend. And both the boy and Jenny May seemed shocked and sad. Today is one of those days. Back to your seats, please. 3, 2, 1. You see Jenny May looks really sad. And it's interesting what the assignment was. Draw your family and write 3 details. On those days, I wait. Jenny May says that Ms. Abbott is a good listener. She says, I'm a good listener too, but today is a quiet walk home. What we need are popsicles and kick the rock. Jenny May's tongue is blue. Nah, mine is purple. Nah. I asked Jenny May, how are you doing? She doesn't answer. Being sad is hard. Jenny May is sad, but she knows I'm here for fun and not fun and everything in between. because that's what friends are for. I love how so many kids' books these days tackle hard things, because even though we might not remember hard things in our lives as kids, there are kids who are tackling hard things. Or maybe we didn't know it at the time, but that we were tackling hard things as kids too. And these can speak to all of us. Today, being the second Sunday of the month, we are doing our food collection, our food in-gathering. So we are taking up our food collection for our neighbors at the Nestor Street food cupboard. If you have something you haven't dropped off yet, I invite you to come forward. And if you would like someone to come and bring it up for you, certainly you can raise your hand and one of our ushers or greeters will help bring that forward for you. I see the bins are already quite full. Thank you for this. Thank you for this way that we live out our faith together.
Well, dear ones, I want to invite you into a reverent time of sharing the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. Here in the silence, we can hold a lot together. So I'll invite you, if you'd like, to place a hand over your heart, to be able to listen from a heart-centered place. And as Greg places stones into the bowl, I will read aloud the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. If you'd like to, if you're joining us online, please share in the chat so we can hear from you as well. This morning, we are holding a joy from Kitty Forbush, for the worldwide uniting love and healing sent to Bill's safety, Damar Hanlon. Keeping Damar in our thoughts. We share both a sorrow and a joy from Bill Sharmale. This past Friday, a service was held at Asbury First United Methodist Church for Alice Mahan, a former member of First Universalist. The sorrow is that Alice has died. The joy is that this service reflected what a beautiful, compassionate person she was as a mother, as an active member of her church, and as a psychotherapist. This morning we heard a sorrow from Steve Searles, who is living with pneumonia. We heard a sorrow from Elizabeth and Dave that their grandson Bobby is ill with possible appendicitis. We hold a sorrow also from Jan Hickman, whose daughter-in-law Nancy is in strong ICU with GBS, but getting better. And we hold an additional sorrow from Charlie Quartzel and Lisa Gwinner. Charlie and Lisa learned from First Unitarian this week that their friend and master craftsman, Ted Robertson, is recovering from a stroke. Please hold him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. Ted and his team refinished the flooring and thoughtfully reinstalled all of the pews here at First Universalist when our sanctuary was renovated about 8 to 10 years ago. So holding Ted Robertson in our thoughts, holding gratitude for the work he has done for us, and a sorrow, wishing him a speedy and well recovery. We drop one stone into the bowl for all the joys shared by our online community. We drop a stone into the bowl for all the sorrows shared in the chat with our online community. And we drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all of the joys and the sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. Dear ones, I want to invite you into a time of prayer and meditation with me. I'll invite you to sort of roll your shoulders down, to take a deep breath, to lean back in your chair, your pew, your couch, wherever you are, to allow your weight to be held in this moment. And I'll invite you, if you would like, to close your eyes or soften your gaze, to travel inward to that silent stillness within, to that sanctuary of the heart and the spirit and the mind. Bare branches, as the wind whistles through, the earth is slowing, turning, graying again, making every moment of sunlight delicious, every bright day divine. We too sit, stripped bare of life as it always is, hearts and heads still recovering from the holiday, the delight and the grief, the disorienting return to the rhythms of our days. Let yourself slow here. Let your branches be bare for a while. Let your heart open to the harsh winds and even the delicious sunshine. Let yourself just breathe and be. Just breathe and be. Just breathe and be. We say goodbye to the events of the past 2 weeks. And hello to the January-ness of it all. Settling in, arriving, present in the body, in the heart, in the mind. Let yourself just breathe and be. Just breathe and be. Just breathe and be. In the shared silence, let us continue to breathe, to arrive, to awaken, to settle in. Let us continue to focus on the breath. Our hymn of contemplation is hymn number 1009, Meditation on Breathing. The words are simple. They can be found in your teal hymnal if you would like, but it really just starts with a little drone. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When you breathe in, what comes to the surface? Is it solely love? Is it solely peace? Some days I find this song easy to get into. Other days, it feels more like a challenge, like a call from my better self to pause and to breathe. Because what is going on below the surface is far from peace and love. Because the breath can be a moment to check in with myself, to honor what is truly under the surface, and to bring some new life there. Let's take another moment to breathe again here, in and out. We have a lot we are breathing through right now. On our last Sunday of exploring the theme of underground, I wanted to give us a chance to explore what lies beneath the surface, what remains unseen, both in our hearts and in the spaces we cannot comprehend and can barely imagine. There are larger workings in the universe than we can determine, just from what can be seen and understood. Spend any time listening to folks who study outer space and even the human brain, and there is certainly an element of mystery to it all. In this religion, in our religion, whose first source, number one, is direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and openness to the forces which create and uphold life. We are folks who embrace the unknown and who celebrate the feeling of smallness brought about by mystery. There are larger workings in the stars, in the heavenly realms. In short, there is certainly more to the world, more to this life than meets the eye. Thought maybe we could explore this with a phrase often uttered, as above, so below. It is an ancient phrase, paraphrased from the Emerald Tablet, a foundational text to Western thought, originally written in Latin. It is shortened from that which is above is like to that which is below, and that which is below is like to that which is above. As above, so below. A much needed paraphrase. And a central guiding sentiment to our earth-based community. An aspirational phrase that seeks to inspire the inner workings of our daily lives, reflected in the larger workings of the divine, in the larger workings of the stars and the universe and mystery. What we do, how we relate to one another and to our earth, has a big impact on the divine forces at work in our universe. And what goes on in larger realms has a deep impact on our lives. Whether we are breathing through it all matters on the large scale of things, and what happens between us has a deeper impact than we can often know. To bring in an earth-based image, and one shared by many traditions, I want to invite you to take a moment and to just bring to mind the tree of life in your mind and in your heart. For some, that is a very definitive image. For others, it is fine to just bring a tree to mind and heart. Its branches outstretched, possibly bare in this season. Or this is your imagination, y'all. Full of life, with leaves of bright green, or perhaps a rich fall red. Maybe a little bit of both. Don't let me limit you here. Its trunk wide and knotted, holding the sustenance that must reach these leaves, and holding many rings of life, years upon years upon years. Now allow your imagination to travel down to the roots, to the soil, to the nourishing, fertile loam and earth that the tree draws sustenance from. If the sustenance is good, the tree flourishes. And as any good gardener here can tell you, if the soil is harsh or not good for growing things, the tree suffers. As above, so below. Perhaps the best conditions for such a tree to grow strong and healthy can be broken down into a science that can be known minerals in the soil for this particular location, animal life that sustains the growth, particular elements to the soil or the groundwater, all that can be known, but perhaps there is still more mystery here. Perhaps there are still some mysteries below the surface we cannot know, and we certainly cannot perceive. This is the tree of life, after all. No easy answers when we were talking about what sustains life. And to hold it all, to sit with the mystery, we keep breathing in and out, as above, so below. We are sitting with a bit of mystery right now, aren't we? As a country, we are sitting with uncertainty about the future of our government. We are still sitting in recovery from the actions of the people who violently stormed our Capitol and rioted 2 years ago. And on the very day, 2 years later, we find ourselves talking about a different fight in Washington, another physical fight, perhaps a little dirty. We have a Speaker of the House now, but it is not a comfort to many in our nation, and it is not a comfort, I imagine, to many of us here this morning. An uncertain unease creeps through us and continues to creep through us. Can we breathe through it together? In the rising white supremacist extremism running riot through our national government, I feel small too. I feel powerless and helpless, just as I do when I am confronted with the tree of life or the mysteries of the universe, yet this is different. I am not awed by this, but rather anxious and a little fearful. I feel small because the larger political systems at work, the soil, is designed to make me feel small. To say we can trust those in leadership, even if they are not who they say they are. I imagine many of us have been wondering for quite a few years about the direction of this country, holding worry about this disintegration, as above, so below. What is growing in the soil of this country? Fertilized as it has always been, with the subjugation of the many in favor of plenty for the few. What does what's happening above in our leadership say about what's happening between us here in our lives, in our daily lived lives? I would never presume to say that those of us here are people who are untrustworthy or especially perpetuating harm on the same kind of scale and level as some of these elected officials. No. Looking below invites us into a more complex view than that either or thinking. To embrace this perspective of as above, so below, I think we have to explore how the larger mindsets and paradigms of our society live in us. And we have to explore this honestly, making room for all that we do not know, alongside claiming that which can be seen and observed, which is right on the surface, even when it is ugly. How we treat one another has direct bearing on what we believe about the divine and our world, and vice versa. It seems simple and obvious, but I do not see this as a straightforward idea. Just a personal example, and I imagine this might be something we share. I am both someone who grew up with an all-loving image of the divine and someone who was raised in a carceral state, where punishment is deserved for breaking the law or even for acts determined to be wrong. To bring that all-loving nature to my interactions with other human beings and creatures has been hard at times, when I hold the truth of my beliefs up against the human models I am surrounded by. Being shaped and formed by a country that continually locks people up for breaking the law and punishes for state-determined wrongdoing is directly counter to Universalist theology. It holds no room, no nuance, no room for the complexity that people who are often perpetuating harm or hurt themselves. No room for actual healing in love rather than dismissing, canceling, punishing, disposing. Love comes in and invites us to see situations from a different perspective, to hold that we cannot know all that is going on in another person's life. Yet love invites us to look below the surface and to also recognize humbly that we cannot know all that is going on there. And still, love cannot be held at the same time as abuse, as Bell Hooks, scholar and author, would remind us. And love invites us to protect ourselves and to also hold that no human is disposable. How do we hold both as we peek into what is going on the surface and below with our country? How do we learn to hold both together? It is part of why we come here to church. Part of why we are a part of this community is not to avoid the complexities and the difficult nuances that being a human being invites us into, but it is to face these things straight on and to recognize that no human being is disposable. Well, we also must be loving and self-protective and caring for ourselves and for our neighbors. It is why our church is attempting to set loving boundaries with our hostless neighbors and to also raise up our advocacy efforts at the same time. We do not want to contribute to the narrative that houseless people deserve to be locked away and shooed out of downtown and never heard from again. And yet, we have wrestled with how to keep this community and its people especially safe. And when the solution to mental illness, addiction issues, trauma, and poverty is to lock people away or to corral our neighbors towards Peace Village, the one-size-fits-all solution, the beliefs about who has inherent worth and dignity and who is deserving of being treated as human beings become starkly clear. Love invites us to protect ourselves and to also hold that no human being is disposable, as above, so below. Please do not allow me to oversimplify some of these complex issues. So often more is going on below the surface than we can see, and I am but one human being with you all. In our story this morning, one person's sadness turns into lashing out and acting out. Jenny May, as well as many of us, have had a hard time vocalizing and showing when we are sad. And sometimes it comes out sideways through isolation or harm to others or straining relationships with the people whose support we need the most. It is part of being human to repress emotions, though of course, I would say we are all more healthily served by expressing them. Because as we learn in our story, they will peek out above, even when we are trying so hard to keep emotions below. What we hold underground in our heads, hearts, and spirits comes out in our interactions and in our bodies. The issues are in our tissues, I have heard say. That is why at times movement and exercise and breath work and embodied practices can bring so much to the surface. Sometimes it just feels more comfortable to remain still and numb and out of touch with the body, especially in this time of year, especially when the gray sets in and the cold is expected. Sometimes allowing things to come to the surface is too painful, and we all just need to chill out for a bit. As above, so below. When the weather is slowing down and our season's growth cycle is slowing down, who are we to be speeding up? As above, so below. Sometimes the best thing to do when the earth is resting and slowing is to rest and slow ourselves, to just ease through our days, to keep breathing through it all. The soil surrounding the tree of life is frozen for now, holding growth still. Let us be still too. Let us show up for love's invitation in the days ahead to truly examine what is below the surface, to continue to breathe our way through the many mysteries we are confronted with. May we be attentive to what is below, the ways we are in relationship with each other, and aspire to the larger belief and values we hold sacred, allowing them to guide us. May we sit at the foot of the tree of life, recognizing we are only seeing half of what is going on. And may we continue to explore what our lives mean in the larger workings of the universe, embracing and accepting the mystery, breathing together through it all. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. I am reminded this morning of the flexibility needed to be in religious community. And I'm reminded of this morning because it turns out that not only are our story slides missing, but so are the rest of our hymn slides. And you know, if we have learned anything as a community in the last 3 years, 4 years, however many years it's been, it is that we are going to be flexible together. And we are gonna make it work when the slides aren't working. That's just how we do it, man. That's how it is here. So our closing hymn is hymn number, what? Are you kidding me? We've got lyrics up here. What? Don't let me ever doubt this congregation and the things that can happen. Oh my gosh, you both are amazing. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Michael. Good. You know, talk about embracing the mystery and all that you do not know. I'm just gonna wow. Okay. All right. Our final hymn this morning is hymn number 108. My life flows on an endless song. We are flowing with life here, and we are going to sing about it. So if you'd like to rise in body or in spirit, our final hymn, it's in your gray hymnals if you like, but the words are on the screen. My life flows on an endless song. Let's sing together, huh? tempest round me roars, I know the truth it liveth. But though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost heart, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing? How can we keep from singing? Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice with these chalice extinguishing words that are hopefully in your order of service, or perhaps some of you have them memorized. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. As we close our service this morning, I invite you to place a hand over your heart, wherever you are, from wherever you are. If you're joining us online, please turn your view to gallery view. If you're here in person, please take a moment to look around this room and just see who is here with you, who is joining us online, who is here with you in this room, who is part of your church community, who will you continue to breathe with through it all. Dear ones, it is my hope and my prayer and my wish for each and every one of you to be able to find capacity here to sit with the mystery, the grandeur, the discomfort, and the pieces that are just too big, and to bring that mindset, these practices, what we learn together, out into the world. May we continue to plumb the depths and to look below the surface and to place our bodies in the depths of the river. And may we go and bring that depth and that knowledge, that awareness, and that deep love to whomever we meet in the days ahead. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so.